Good morning and welcome from the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. I'm your host, Amy Lyman, Director of Marketing and Communications at the department. The Department of Agriculture, in conjunction with Southern United States Trade Association, is pleased to host today's webinar, Arkansas, the Natural Exporter. Today you will learn how Arkansas-based companies can take advantage of the programs offered by the Southern United States Trade Association to export their agricultural-related products such as food, beverage, timber, and other commercial items. Please join me in welcoming our guests, Secretary of Agriculture, Wes Ward, Michael Hochlander of Cree Producers, and Danielle Coco with Southern United States Trade Association. Secretary Ward was appointed by Governor Asa Hutchinson in 2015 and is only the third Secretary of Agriculture in the state's history. Before serving as the Secretary of Agriculture, he worked for U.S. Congressman Rick Crawford and was an adjunct law professor at the University of Arkansas School of Law. He is a distinguished United States Marine Corps veteran of 20 years. Ward is a Juris Doctor with a Master of Law in Agriculture Food and a Master of Science in Agricultural Economics. Secretary Ward, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Amy. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. The Arkansas Department of Agriculture includes the Forestry Division, Natural Resources Division, Livestock and Poultry Division, Plant Industries Division, and numerous boards and commissions. The department is dedicated to the development and implementation of policies and programs for Arkansas agriculture and forestry to keep its farmers and ranchers competitive in national and international markets while ensuring safe food, fiber, and forest products for the citizens of Arkansas, the nation, and across the globe. Agriculture is our state's largest industry with a $21 billion impact, and export activity is incredibly important to our state. In terms of total value of agricultural plant and animal exports, Arkansas ranks number 1 among Delta states, 4th among the southern states, and 16th nationally with a total value in excess of $3 billion. Though the bulk of the value of Arkansas's agriculture exports are derived from our large commodities such as broilers, soybeans, rice, and cotton, there are many agriculture-related companies in Arkansas that are seeking guidance and financial assistance to expand their agricultural product sales into the global marketplace. Some of these industries may include snack foods, distilled spirits, specialty crops, nuts, and timber, just to name a few. With most global consumers living outside the United States, it's important to have the best resources available so our agriculture exporters can not only identify but interact with buyers representing some of the best sales opportunities in today's global markets. We enjoy a great relationship with the Southern United States Trade Association and are very pleased to partner with them today to talk about additional opportunities available to Arkansas producers. Opportunities to better enable producers to meet the growing demand for U.S. produced goods. Together with SUSTA, we can assist companies in gaining access to foreign markets, new markets for Arkansas goods, and opportunities for producers to help meet the growing demand for U.S. produced goods all over the world. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Amy, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you again, Secretary Ward. Now we're going to hear a pre-recorded message from Michael Hochlander with Cree Producers, a member of the Southern United States Trade Association. After a career with Walmart International Marketing, Michael Hochlander opened Cree Producers to focus on consumer goods. He found an opportunity to produce premium protein snacks for high-end brands, including MGM Resorts International, the legendary Hatfield and McCoy family brand, and Greg Norman's signature Wagyu beef jerky. In 2020, Cree Producers introduced its own brand, their international flagship product, 5-Star Jerky. Let's take a listen to the video.
I started Cree Producers to produce some jerky about 5 years ago in Northwest Arkansas, and we have been very successful with several different product lines coming out of Arkansas. Our jerky is special because it is a flagship international product and it is 100% American made. We make all the product here using U.S. beef. Our bags are made in the U.S. and then we ship from here, and it's also halal certified. That's kind of a big thing right now, being a halal certified product, especially for international shipping, and that's what sets us apart from our competitors. Once we learned about the SUSTA program, it helped us to accelerate our goals as a company to expand internationally. Our first experience with SUSTA was going to the Gulf Food Show in February 2020 in Dubai. It was an amazing experience. It was a show that allowed us to participate in the US Pavilion. We met USDA representatives in country from Dubai, from Saudi Arabia. We're exchanging cards. They're saying, hey, if you have a question, just email us. I mean, these are people in country, part of the USDA program. Very huge resource. Would not have gotten that without going to the Gulf Food Show and meeting them personally. The success of our product being at the Gulf Food Show in Dubai in 2020 has really encouraged us to go back to the Gulf Food Show in 2021. SUSTA is for all size companies. They really are. We are a small company and we had international goals in mind. But when we first learned about SUSTA and that they would work with us, even one-on-one, we were able to achieve our goals much sooner than we had thought. The cost of us doing business on our own without SUSTA would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars. We would not have been able to do that right away. And with the 50% cost share program, they made it affordable. We saved tons of money because they have provided the service that accelerated our plans to grow globally. And SUSTA works very, very well with all sorts of companies. And for us, they've been fantastic in helping us achieve our long-term goals.
Thank you, Michael, for your perspective on the benefits of Southern United States Trade Association. Now I'm going to hand it over to our good friend Daniel Coco, Marketing and Communications Director at the Southern United States Trade Association, or SUSTA. She started with them in 2013 and is responsible for creating awareness of SUSTA and reaching out to new companies that can take advantage of their export assistance. Again, I would remind you, if you'd like to submit questions, you can do so through chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. Can you confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay, great. Hi, everybody. My name is Danielle Coco, as Amy said, and I'm the Marketing and Communications Director over at SUSTA. We are headquartered in New Orleans, where we are working sometimes in the office and sometimes at home. So you are catching me in my home office today, and it's a pleasure to be with you. And thank you to the Department of Agriculture for inviting us and for really spearheading this webinar for Arkansas producers. So I wanted to start with a little introduction about who SUSTA is. We are a nonprofit trade association that receives the bulk of our funding from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So our programs are federally funded. As you heard Secretary Ward talk about agriculture exports coming out of Arkansas, the numbers are really big. Agriculture makes up a huge part of the entire country's exports and trade. So our programs were designed back in the 70s is when they were created. And the intent is to help the small and medium-sized companies get in on some of that trade action. So our purpose is to help make introductions with foreign buyers and to reduce some of the costs associated with getting into exporting and promoting U.S. products internationally. So SUSTA covers the entire southern region, including Arkansas. So these are the states that that we work in. And again, you know, being in New Orleans and only having a staff of 14 people, we really work closely with the departments of agriculture in each of these states. The secretary and Amy and the team there have been really good partners with SUSTA and, you know, helping us connect with companies in Arkansas. So in addition to being headquartered in the southern region, for companies to participate in our programs, they need to be either small by SBA standards, or now we can actually work with companies that are up to 3 times the SBA size limit. So, a nice medium-sized company. For a lot of companies, it is the SBA looks at employee numbers, and it's for many companies, it's under 500 employees would make you small. So if you look at 3 times that, we can work with companies that have up to 1,500 1,500 employees. So, a pretty good range. And then we want to make sure that companies, when they get started in our programs and really get serious about exporting, that they have adequate resources and product supply. If you're going to be spending time and energy and money in promoting your products, we want to make sure that you're really ready to take advantage of all the opportunities. And hand in hand with that is just making sure that your annual sales from the previous year are about $50,000 at a minimum. And then the company types that we work with, we range from manufacturers, including private label, growers and ranchers, farmers cooperatives, as well as export management companies who might not own the brand, but have a contract and permission to export and promote a brand internationally. In terms of the product eligibility, they have to have a brand name on them. So we are not going to help, let's say, Arkansas Rice as a group promote, Arkansas rice in China or Japan or, Mexico, Brazil. We would help a specific producer promote their branded product. So that's a difference between us and some of the commodity groups who help, advance an entire commodity. We're really working with the individual companies. And then the products have to be made from at least 50% US agriculture. So what that means is we look at you self-certify this. So you would look at the weight of your product and you remove any water weight and packaging weight and just look at the core ingredients, and at least 50% by weight has to be farmed, fished, or forested here in the US. And then the USDA really wants to see a US origin statement on your product saying that it's made in USA, product of USA, grown in USA, America, or the name of the state spelled out. So just, a few little things that you have to check off the list. But really the product types that we work with are vast. It's, of course, everything that you might find in the grocery, staples like sauces and condiments and mixes, frozen foods, but also fresh foods, produce, nuts, seafood. But then think also, pet foods that meet the eligibility requirements, and pet care. We have several of those types of companies. Same thing with health and beauty products. As long as they meet the product eligibility requirements, we can work with them. So vitamins and supplements, horticulture, it could be either ornamental horticulture, like actual, the flowers and the bulbs and things, but also mulch or fertilizer, and even some wood products. So again, quite a diverse range. And if anybody has questions, further questions about product eligibility or company eligibility, I'd be happy to take questions later or talk offline about that. But to get into the fun part, our two core programs are global events and 50% cost share. And I'll talk about each one and go into depth about the programs and how we help companies, and also how we've pivoted given the restrictions that have come with the COVID-19 pandemic. So through our global events programs, SUSTA offers 3 different types of events, or I would say traditionally, this is what we've offered. Inbound trade missions, outbound missions where, a US company travels out of the country, and pavilions at trade shows. So back when people were traveling and I should say in a pre-COVID life, we would bring foreign buyers here to the US to meet with our participants. So a company could register for one of these events on our website. It would be $25, and they would meet with several foreign buyers from that country. So it's a great way to, if you're new to exporting, to really dip your toe in these waters without spending much money. You're not actually traveling out of the country. And the benefit, in addition to, having a potential buyer across the table from you, is that, in addition to maybe making sales, they're giving you direct feedback on your product. They know their market and their country very well. and they could give you feedback on the flavor profile, even things like the size and the packaging of your product. So, again, a great way to, of course, hopefully do business, but at the very least, do research. Our outbound trade missions function somewhat similarly in that you are in front of foreign buyers in a one-on-one setting, except, of course, the major difference is you are traveling to the foreign country. So these are some photos from our China outbound trade mission that we would typically do every August. Of course, that is not taking place this year, but I would say it's usually 6 to 8 US companies would come with us to China and meet with foreign buyers. In addition to that, we take them on retail tours to see, local hypermarkets and supermarkets, different retail venues where their products could be on the shelves. You see who the competition is, look at pricing and, just get a better feel for the market. In addition to that, we offer in-depth presentations given by our in-country consultants, as well as the USDA staff that's on the ground in those countries. I know Michael from Kribe in the video that was shown earlier mentioned that when he was at the Gulf Food Trade Show with us, which was in Dubai in February, that he met the USDA staff that was local in the Middle East, and what great resources they are. And he's absolutely right. They're great people to know, and those are folks that we can put you in touch with. They'll help with, real specific questions about that market. It could be labeling or, what ingredients might be allowed or not allowed in a certain country. So anyway, with the outbound mission, though, you'll get those in-depth presentations on the market. Most of our outbound trade missions are $400 to $600, so incredibly affordable. And for that cost, you can opt to either have SUSTA pay for one person's international round trip flight or one person's lodging for the duration of the trade mission. So again, really underscoring how SUSTA tries to make exporting financially feasible for small and medium-sized businesses. And then with our second program that I haven't talked about yet, 50% cost share, companies can also apply to get 50% reimbursement of other expenses tied to participating in these types of events that weren't already covered, through the event. So something to keep in mind. However, now we, as I mentioned, have pivoted, following the pandemic restrictions, and we are turning a lot of the trade missions that we had planned for this year into virtual events. So we have now hosted virtual trade missions with Canada. We did Mexico, India. In fact, we've had 2 with Canada, Mexico, India. We opened up one today for beer, wine, and spirits, and that is with European buyers. So these would take place, I would say, without traveling. It's as close to the real deal as possible. They would take place over Zoom, kind of like we're doing today. But where SUSTA has really gone the extra mile is getting your products into the hands of the foreign buyer that's going to be meeting with you during the mission. So for the $25 fee, included in that fee is we would reimburse up to a certain amount of shipping your product to the foreign market. So let's say you sign up for the Canada virtual trade mission, you pay $25, and we'd cover up to a certain weight or dollar amount for shipping. And then you would meet with the, several Canadian buyers, and they would have your product. So pretty amazing, because as we know with food, so much of showcasing what you have to offer is the taste and the feel and the, getting the actual product in somebody's hands. And then, of course, in addition to that, a really valuable piece of our virtual trade missions is that our consultants are offering full market assessments for your specific company and product. So that is another really important and new addition that we're offering with these virtual trade missions is a full market assessment so that maybe you're not going to China and seeing what else is on the shelves that is like your product, but those consultants would be doing things like that for you. So again, really trying to during this difficult time, support our companies as much as we can. And for those folks who are already exporting, to really help them keep the momentum going. And then we have pavilions at international trade shows throughout the year. Of course, when people can travel, these are amazing ways to meet a variety of buyers. So the purpose of the SUSTA pavilions is really, again, to alleviate a lot of the logistical headaches as well as the financial burdens that come with exhibiting at a major trade show in a foreign country. So a lot of times our booths within our pavilion are going to be significantly reduced in the price. So let's say you wanted to exhibit at a trade show in Japan, it might be like $6,000 or $8,000 for a booth if you were to go on your own. If you register through SUSTA and you exhibit in our pavilion, it might be like $1,200 or $1,500. And I'm giving round numbers just because it changes depending on each event. So I really encourage you, if you're interested in anything, to just get on our website, susta.org, and go to our events page, and you'd see all of the events and you know what's included in each event and the pricing for each one. But the amazing thing about coming with us is that we have support staff there at the show to help with everything. You know, we're really there to help from the minute that you sign up through, you know, through getting home after the show. So making sure that you're getting in the trade show directory, you know, that if you're selling ice cream, that in the trade show directory that you're appearing under the frozen foods section. I mean, there's a lot of minutia that that when you're exhibiting at a trade show that's not in the US, it's kind of nice to have somebody really, you know, hold your hand and walk you through all these steps. And then if it's in a market where English is not the primary business language, we will also provide interpreters for each booth. And we also provide a shipping allowance for each of our international trade shows. And then through our cost share program, companies can apply to get 50% reimbursement of the booth fee. And this is whether a company is coming with us on a global event, you know, exhibiting at an international trade show with SUSTA, or, you know, you could be going on your own to a trade show and you could also request that. So your booth fee, 50% reimbursement, as well as reimbursement of travel for 2 people. So that would be airfare, lodging, and a per diem. Of course, most trade shows are canceled right now. However, some are actually going forward this fall, and there are 2 that we've started with at least, and maybe more coming up, that we're going to offer a virtual option to exhibit at these shows. So CL Paris and CL China are still taking place this fall, and SUSTA has opened up virtual options for these. So you could sign up. CL China, unfortunately, is sold out, but CL Paris just opened up yesterday. So for $600, a company could register to showcase their products at CL Paris, ship your products to a consolidated point, and there is reimbursement for a certain amount of the shipping. And then your products would get showcased in the SUSTA pavilion, and our consultants in Europe will be on hand to hand out samples, hand out your marketing materials, and even set up meetings during the show if somebody's really interested, so that you could get in front of them in a, you know, a Zoom-like meeting. So again, trying to make it as close to the real deal as possible, but without having the US company travel. And so if you're interested, CL Paris is still available. I know we still have a bunch of space there. And then another thing we are offering are free virtual consultations with our foreign consultants. So as I mentioned, we have consultants who are in these markets: China, Canada, Europe, Canada, Mexico, India, China, and Hong Kong. And if you sign up for one of these consultations, it is again through Zoom, but it's 25 minutes. And prior to the consultation, the consultant would ask you a little bit about your products, your company, and what questions you have. You know, why are you signing up for this consultation? So that they can prepare and use that 25-minute call to really answer your questions and help you out. So those are also great opportunities that we launched since March, since the shutdown. And the last thing I'll mention for virtual events is our weekly webinars. So every Wednesday we have been hosting webinars on a variety of topics. We might be looking at exporting to a specific market like India, and then featuring our consultants who are based there. Or it might be, how to use social media to build your brand internationally. And we have experts come in and talk each week about, a variety of these export-related topics. These are free, and you register on our website for those webinars. Next week, we're going to have somebody come in and talk from the XM Bank. And we'll also have a SUSTA participant weigh in, somebody who uses the XM Bank products to talk about his experience and how much it's helped him. So keep an eye out for all of the webinars, the consultations, trade missions, and shows on our events page. So it's susta.org/events. And here you go. I forgot I had a screenshot of it. Yep, and you can click on the event or click register now, and you'll see all the event information there. Whew, all right, so that was one of our programs, the global events. Now we'll talk about 50% cost share. So I mentioned this in global events because you can use these two programs together, using our cost share program to get reimbursed for some expenses tied to global events. So this is the full list of expenses that are eligible under our 50% cost share program. And I just want everybody to keep in mind that these eligible promotions are for promoting your product internationally. So you're going to see advertising here. That would be advertising in a foreign country. Website development to translate your web pages to a foreign language or create a foreign URL. Packaging and label changes, that would be if you need to modify your packaging and labeling to meet the requirements of Canada, because you have to have bilingual labels to sell in Canada. So getting into compliance with their government's regulations, so the redesign of your packaging, translation, as well as the printing and production of your new labels, that's all 50% reimbursable. So this is the full list. Of course, you're going to see on there the international shows and travel. I would say prior to COVID, most of our companies had that in their cost share application. Everybody's going to these big trade shows for food and horticulture and beverages, and that's how they're connecting with people. And then they would be getting reimbursed through this program, or 50% reimbursement for things like traveling to those major trade shows. But of course, since that isn't happening now, we're really trying to educate companies on all of the other things that you can be doing with this program, because it really is an awesome and long list. So I wanted to really highlight some of these things. Think about how much time everybody is spending in front of a screen right now. You could hire somebody, let's say you are going to be distributed in Colombia. You could hire a PR firm in Colombia who knows, the social media landscape there, to create a whole social media ad campaign targeting Colombian consumers. And that is something that you could apply to get 50% reimbursement for through SUSTA. So think about the ways that you support your brand in the domestic market. Maybe it's in-store displays like you'll see here on the screen, where you're, calling attention to your product in the store. I guess back when you could do in-store sampling, that's another great expense that's on our list of eligible expenses. Of course, not so much now, but anyway, all these things that you do in the domestic market that would support your brand, you should really consider doing that in the international market as well, as you get distribution in different foreign markets. So this cost share program is really designed to help you support and promote your brands internationally that way. So it's, there's a lot of room for you to get creative and let SUSTA shoulder some of that financial burden. If anybody has questions about our programs, of course, I will happily answer those at the end of the webinar. I wanted to talk a little bit about how to get started with our programs. I think some people on the line have a My SUSTA account already, but some don't. So the first step in participating in our programs is creating your My SUSTA account. This is going to give us some basic company information so that we can ensure you're eligible to participate. So you would just go to our website and click that little sign up icon there and fill out the My SUSTA account. It's a few pages online. It's free. One key part of that, though, when you create your account is you let us know if you're interested in global events and or 50% cost share. You'll be reviewed by the program director if you check off that you're interested. If you don't, you won't. So if you want to participate in both programs, just make sure that you check off both programs of interest. And then I'd also like to point out that every August 1st, when you go to log into your account, you'll see this pop-up that I have here on the screen asking you to confirm your account details. So if you're a returning company and you want to participate in the following year in our programs, you will get the pop-up. Of course, starting August 1st, this would say before you can apply for the 2021 programs. So what we do is we allow companies to start applying and registering for our programs in the fall so that come January 1st, they're ready to go. So this August 1st, you could reconfirm your details for 2021. Our global events for 2021 will start going live on August 17th. It's a Monday. So you would, if you really want to jump on our 2021 events, you would want to create your account now and reconfirm your details after August 1st so that you are eligible when those events start going live August 17th. And then for the 50% cost share program, you would also be able to gain access to the 2021 application so that you could apply for the funding and again hit the ground running come January 1st. The cost share application is a rolling process though. So we have companies who are still applying right now for 2020 expenses, but come August, you could also start a second application for 2021. So just keep that in mind. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about our cost share application. Some companies think that when they create their My SUSTA account, that's all they have to do, and now they're approved and they can do all the things. When really there is a second step if you want to participate in cost share. Every year you have to apply for the funds that you're going to use, and you have to let us know, in what countries you're applying for the funding and what kind of promotions you're doing. So you would find that once you have your My SUSTA account, you would see a dashboard that looks like this. You would click on your 50% cost share application and get that started. I just wanted to show you a snapshot of what a marketing plan looks like. So let's say you wanted to apply for funds to promote your products in Mexico. You would create a Mexico marketing plan in your cost share application. And what that means when we say marketing plan is it's a list of all the eligible expenses that you can apply for through the cost share program. So you would say, in Mexico, I plan on doing advertising in magazines and social media, and it's going to cost $20,000 total. So you'd put that in the little advertising box. Then you might say, I'm also going to do packaging and label changes, and that's going to cost, another $10,000. So then you'd apply for the funds in Mexico, and then you can create several of those marketing plans, for each different foreign country that you want to apply for funding in. So that's just a breakdown of how you would apply for cost share and that you do it every year. The other thing to keep in mind is that you apply for cost share funding before you incur the expenses. That's why we open up the application process this August for next year. So it's not retroactive. If you came to us right now and you said, oh my gosh, I did a social media campaign in Germany back in February, we would not be able to reimburse the costs for that. You have to apply first, get approved, be contracted in the program, and then go out and do the promotional activities. So as I mentioned, you apply annually. We ask that companies apply for, there's a minimum annual request of $2,500, meaning that you're spending at least $5,000 in eligible expenses to apply. And then the maximum a company can apply for in a year is $300,000 in reimbursement, which would mean you're spending $600,000 and getting half of that back. through an additional stream of funding that SUSTA was awarded in 2019 called the Agricultural Trade Promotion Program. We can actually now, for while that funding is with us, we can reimburse companies for more than that maximum amount. So if you have questions about that, I'd be happy to speak offline. So if you're spending more than $600,000 in promotional expenses, we can work with you while this funding is available. A few things to keep in mind: the fees that are associated with cost share are different than global events, right? So creating your MySUSTA account is free. For global events, you just pay for whatever event it is that you want to register for, and that's the only fee really with global events. For cost share, you are going to pay $250 when you submit your application. So that's an annual fee that comes with submitting your cost share application. And then there's also a 6% administrative fee on the amount that you request in reimbursement. So you say, you know, I'm spending $20,000 in Mexico, I'm requesting $10,000 from SUSTA. You would pay a $600 fee upfront for us to allocate that funding. So just a few things to keep in mind as you move in through this process. So once you're contracted, then you go out, you conduct your approved marketing promotions. Along the way, you collect all the required documents. So we have a manual that would go through everything that you're going to need, but let's say you're exhibiting at a trade show, you know, there's some documentation we're going to need to see for you to get reimbursed. We'll need to see invoices and receipts and the proof that you were actually, you know, there and doing what you said you did. Then you would submit that expense claim to SUSTA, and it's usually about a month when you receive reimbursement, once we have all the documents we need. So that is our cost share program in a nutshell. I know that's a lot of information to take in, and you know, we'd be happy to set up one-on-one consultations with anybody who has questions or wants to learn more, or even just go through it, you know, again in a one-on-one setting. We can certainly do that. So this is my contact information. My email is danielle@susta.org. And again, you know, happy to take questions now or offline, have a conversation or a Zoom or an email conversation. So that is the end of my presentation. Amy, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you very much, Danielle. So I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us today. As was said earlier, the Department of Agriculture, in conjunction with SUSTA, is here to help Arkansas-based companies export their agricultural-related products. We want to assist you in gaining access to foreign markets. We want your food, beverage, timber, and other commercial items added to the international market. If you have any additional questions or you need assistance, our contact information is shown here, both the departments and SUSTA. Thank you again for joining us today.